I love rocks. I really love like expansive, crazy views. I love hiking, but I love a good rock where I can just rest. I can hear the train. The last property I lived at, the train came by, I don't know, a couple times a day. It was a welcome sound. The new place I'm renting, I can't hear it, so it's kind of nice to hear it right now. There's a couple points in this interview coming up with Dan where it seems like it was more circumstantial in the beginning, but then it became really nourishing for him to be on a bunch of land. And he talks about when his son came back and they went for a walk on the land. He sent me a picture of this cutest cow. We'll see if we can edit it into this. Or you can just think of those, the cow that have the bangs, they're so cute. There was one point in this podcast where he kind of like terrified me a little bit to be on his, I'll be honest. But in the best of ways, I love that I can innocently, tastefully, compassionately, humorously, like I just play with the energy to ask that question that needs to be asked, to pop open the space to truth, depth, what's really going on in an intimate relationship with oneself and one's partnership. And I sense that Dan is very similar to me when it comes to business, where he's willing to no bullshit ask those questions. So I'm a little trepidatious, but I'm more excited than trepidatious because it's rare that someone cares enough to ask those questions. Because along with that level of being straight comes a risk of people rejecting you or blah, blah, blah. But who wants fake, shallow relationships anyways? Who wants a life of regret anyways? Not me. So I respect this man. And this was a wonderful opportunity to get to know him more. And if he resonates with you in terms of his ability to remove those bottlenecks, like me, removing blind spots with intimacy, he removes like bottlenecks from businesses, reach out to him for sure. And I'll keep you posted when I'm on his podcast, when I'm out in the tri-state area in New York this spring. It's wonderful to meet new people and to bring them to you. Enjoy this podcast. Beautiful sister, take a breath with me. Oh, when was the last time you felt really grounded in your body, still in your mind, truly in love with yourself? Not fixing yourself, not striving to be different, just loving your sweet self exactly as you are. I know you've probably been strong for everybody else, yet this is your moment now, an invitation to be there for you. To say yes to not just the bare minimum, but your real needs. To listen to the truth of your body. To slow down and hear the deepest truth of your heart. To face what you've been perhaps avoiding so that you can embody your authentic feminine power. And you don't have to do this alone. Like so many others before you, we can partner in divine sisterhood. The divine feminine way is to collaborate, to open our hearts together into the glorious, great unknown, the mystery. So I invite you to go to allanapratt.com/connect and book a call with me today. We will get through any shadow to the light of your fullest glory together. Promise. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Season 14, Dark Night to Divine Light, because we both know intimacy is an inside job. Hello and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations. Here we are, Season 14, from Dark Night to Divine Light. And I have a new brother from another mother who is with me. Mr. Dan Sachkowsky, dansachkowsky.com. Follow him on Instagram as well. Let me tell you a little bit about him from his bio and then from my heart. So he's an entrepreneur. He's a business coach, business growth coach, and he teaches owners how to lead, scale, and win without excuses. He's a father who has built multiple companies from the ground up, and he's learned the hard way what pressure failure and responsibility really mean. Get this, he survived a heart attack at 40, and his definition of success changed from chasing money to building legacy, discipline, and impact. And today he helps business owners break through bottlenecks, take full ownership of his lives, scale with clarity, structure, and relentless execution. And he believes that real growth starts with honesty, personal responsibility, and doing the hard work most people avoid. So there's his bio. And Dan, one of the reasons why I invited you on the podcast is you have been so kind, transparent. You just reach out just to check on me. And when I responded to you going to a baseball game with your sons, and I responded that, wow, it's been, 5.5 years since I've spoken to mine. You responded right away with your own personal story. So I really appreciate your heart and your story of resilience and grit. Even your mug says fucking grit on it. Is that what it says on it? Grit?
Yeah.
Grit. There it is. There it is. Yeah. So thank you for the nobility of your heart, the kindness of your heart. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's just start. Where do you live again? You live on the East Coast.
Yeah, Jersey and Florida, back and forth.
Okay. And you have three kids, right?
3 kids, yeah.
Yeah. What happened with the heart attack? I'm not a doctor, but I always believe that the heart, when there's a heart attack, it's more than just something physical. It's meant to wake you up, wake your life up. So maybe we could start there.
So I didn't have blockage or clogging or anything. Mine was a little bit different. I had a leaky valve, and I had a slit in my valve, and I was leaking internally, and my blood pressure skyrocketed through the roof, and I went to a cardiac state. But by the time I got to the hospital and everything was done, everything came down, and the valve had opened up, and blood was just pouring out internally inside of me.
Dear.
Yeah.
So it was so they had to open heart.
No, nothing. No, it just calmed down. So because of the pressure and how the blood pressure was rising, it was making that valve work very, very hard. So the valve always had a little slit in it, and we were monitoring it.
Yeah.
But because the blood pressure went so high, the valve where the slit was just kind of opened up more, and blood just started pouring out inside. So the blood pressure had to come down from the elevated state so that the valve can shut a little bit more.
Yeah.
And still have the slit now, but it's very controlled. And if the slit ends up getting bigger, I get checked every 6 months. If the slit gets bigger, then they either got to change the valve, or they got to put almost like if you had a hernia, the gauze on top of it.
Yeah. What did you make of that psychologically, or mindset, emotionally, heart? Your heart was hurting. What was going on in your life at that time?
So, there's a lot. I was going through a divorce at that time, and I think I wasn't even divorced yet. I was almost divorced, and work was very heavy. There was a lot going on. Work was going well, but I just had a lot going on, and I had a lot of obligations, a lot of things going on. It was just a really hot day that I drank things I probably shouldn't have drank, and ate things I shouldn't have ate, just because of the heat index and what was going on. And I caused myself to get there. I didn't take my medication for a couple of days, and going through that episode, what's interesting is, people talk about, I was talking to a guy yesterday, one of my clients, and he's like, I really fear death. And I'm like, a lot of people fear death, and there's a couple reasons why we do, I think. Number one, we're scared to know, hey, when's the last time going to be? And how do we prepare for it? And we don't prepare for it, right? And then it's all right, well, when I'm gone, how does everybody else deal with it? So I think when you go through the situation of a near-death experience, it's a wake-up call. And you don't know. I thought I was dead. I thought it was over. All the emotions are running. You kind of black out a little bit. You don't really know what's going on. So it's kind of like when you watch these movies over the years and you see people in ambulances and all this crazy action, and it's just kind of like shadows. That's exactly what was going on. And
Wow.
I just knew that if that were it, I was pretty disappointed with what I did up until my point in my life. And I knew that if I had another chance after that point, I was going to have to change it because I wasn't really leaving anything solid behind. Yeah, I made a lot of money. Yeah, I had businesses, but I didn't feel like I did anything worthwhile talking about.
Wow. Thank you. So, where were you with your relationship with your kids at that time when that
So
happened?
my my one son um, wasn't talking to me.
Mm,
My oldest son and my daughter, I had them like 50% of the time.
yeah.
So my relationship with the two of them was good, but my one son wasn't talking to me.
Wow. We'll never know all the reasons, but why do you think that had occurred that you guys weren't talking to each other at that point?
Well, just through everything I went through, I know that it was parent alienation. And
Mm,
I know that there was a point in my relationship where I was told that, throughout the divorce, I was going to be destroyed and all this stuff. And there is a lot of bitterness, and it was tried on all three kids, and it was only one on one. Which is good because I see it a lot of times where all the kids are taken away, or even like there's no communication with any of the kids just because of whatever it is. But my one son just dealt with things differently. He was a lot closer to his mom than the other two, and I don't know. He just he got sucked in,
mm,
and for 4 years you get sucked in, and then he became an adult, 18 years old, and I think that he came to a realization that it was time to grow up and realize that the problem wasn't the problem. And kids are smart; they figure things out. But going through that whole situation of all those years, after people tell you, "Hey, it'll be okay. He'll come back," all this kind of stuff, like you don't want to hear that from somebody who hasn't been through it
yeah.
because everyone tries to give you advice. It's just like business coaching. Like people try to coach you on things that they've never done. So it's the
Yeah.
same life experiences. You're going to go to a marriage counselor that's never been married. Like there's really no hope there because at the end of the day, like there's no substance. So it was like everyone telling me all this stuff. And I just was like, all right, well, like I'm good. Don't talk to me. So I wanted to talk to the people who actually were going through it, and
Mm,
it's very hard because you start realizing that some of the people actually give up on their kids and then some of the people don't. And, now it's another mixed emotion. Like, now what do you do? So I just like kind of like shut everybody off and I just did what I was doing and I just kept focused on what I was doing. And, just with the hope that he would come back one day.
yeah. So, this heart attack, and you haven't talked to your son. How did you heal your heart, or how did you focus on that relationship for all those years? What did you do? What did you say? How did you pray? What did you visualize? What did you do that, maybe on an energetic level? I know that he became 18 and called you again, but what did you do that may or may not have contributed to that safe space for him to come back?
So there was a couple of times where I broke down, but I mean, at the end of the day, ultimately I had two other kids that needed their father.
Yeah,
I realized that I could not let them be subject of pain that I was going through, and I had to show up for them the right way. So I was still going to show up for them, even though I was hurting, because I didn't want them to suffer what I was suffering. Because now I was thinking about, one direction, but not the other direction. So
yeah,
I knew that I had to focus on the two kids who were present
yeah,
and everything I had, but then internally deal with everything I had to deal with. So then that was prayer, that was writing things down. And, there were days where, I just broke down and I felt like shit. And, so many things were attacking me, but, you go through those emotions. You just got to know how to get through it.
yeah. You're, I'm a lady. You're not just a man, but you're like into sports and you look really strong and you're from New Jersey. I don't know how you were raised. How did you, I'm going to use the word integrate emotions because I don't think pushing them away, stuffing them away, ignoring them works. I don't think becoming overly dramatic works either, but I think there's a way to honor them. And somehow by honoring them with compassion, they transmute into grit, just like your mug, but like not like a forceful grit, but like an internal courage that no one can waver.
So I used to just journal it out, and I used to just pray about it. And whatever I was feeling, I would just write. I would write my feelings out,
Nice.
but then I made sure that I was present. But then there was a lot of things going on family wise where, he wasn't present. I would try to tell myself, like, I know he would want to be here, but he just isn't here because of a circumstance that he actually unfortunately was put into,
Yeah.
not by choice.
Right.
Right. So a lot of times in life, we get put into situations where, whatever it is, we just start believing, or we start becoming encouraged by whatever's surrounding us. And we don't see the darkness on the outside or the light on the outside because we're just stuck in this zone. So he was just stuck in his zone, and there was nothing I could do about it. I texted him every day. I showed up to all his football games. I did stuff to show my presence and for him to know that I cared.
Yeah.
But I never overstepped my boundary.
Wow. So take us to the moment where he reached out. Did he text? Did he call? And what was that like?
He showed up to the house.
Really?
Yeah, my older son was here. He said, "Hey, Devin's going to come by, and he's going to stop by this morning." And I'm like, "Okay." So I was outside, and I was working on some stuff outside. It was early. It was like 7 a.m. And he had came back there, and then my other son walked away. And then we just started talking a little bit, and then we just walked around the property because we got this new property in Jersey at the time. While he wasn't present, we had a farm, we had animals, we had all this stuff. So he actually met me in the back by the animals, and then I walked him around the whole property, and we were just having a conversation. And from that day moving forward, he just continued to come by and continued to connect and continue doing stuff. It was super awkward in the beginning because you don't know how to act, and then he started calling me dad and doing this kind of stuff. And I just hear this voice that I haven't heard in a long time. And, just spending all this time I've spent with him in the last 7, 8 months, hearing dad, hearing this, it's just very weird how you don't know how to react to it, but it just really hits you very hard,
Yeah. In a good way.
I didn't want to ask him. I never wanted to ask him why.
Yeah.
So I didn't ask him why. I mean, I kind of know why it happened, but it was irrelevant. What's gone is gone. But what I did ask him, we ended up being in Aruba. He flew out there for a couple of days, and he didn't stay the whole trip, but he came towards the tail end of the trip. And then when we got back, I said, I just want to ask you one question. What made you come back?
Oh, nice.
That was the only thing I wanted to know. And he said, I was ready. And we left it at that. I didn't ask any deeper. I don't ask him anything. We don't talk about anything. He'll call me for advice now. He wants to do stuff. And, he's super respectful to me. And, unfortunately, all those years are gone. And I wasn't able to integrate him into the man that he is today.
Yeah.
I see distinct differences between him and his brother. But I do now have the ability to enforce the qualities that I can give him now, versus trying to go back and change things. And I don't want to repeat patterns. I don't want to talk about yesterday because it's over. I just want to move forward and see what we can do to move forward to make it strong. Because what we can't change is what already happened. But what we can change and what we can do is work into what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk about that, but first I just want to go back to the farm. You sent me the cutest little picture. Was it Rusty? The cow with the good hair?
Rusty, I put that in that WhatsApp group chat with everybody, right?
Yeah. It's cutest little cow. What drew you to getting land and a farm? How has that supported the shift? Has it supported the shift from chasing money to leaving legacy? Is your environment nourishing you somehow that way?
The farm was actually just something that we needed property. I had, at the time, I was still in the construction industry. That's where I was. And I had all these trucks and all this equipment. And I needed an outlet to put everything so that my life wasn't so spread out. So that was the main thing. But now, fortunately enough, all that stuff is gone and I'm not doing that anymore. And the farm just turned into something for the family that I don't think we even thought it would turn into. Like the animals weren't here. We created that. And we just, we almost built this thing by design. And, people are like, oh my God, you guys are farmers. But I mean, we have pets. Like all of our animals are our pets, and none of them are out for slaughter. And it's very peaceful. So what I really enjoy about, the animals and what they do for you is no matter what happens in your life, what's interesting is that when you walk outside and you see these animals or whatever's going on, they don't care how bad your day was. They don't care about anything.
Yeah.
They just eat. They just want you to recognize them. They just want to know that, you feel their presence.
Yeah.
And it just brings you to this place where it's like life doesn't really matter outside of right now.
Yeah.
And I think that we spend so much time worrying about how we're going to do things and trying to control things and all this other stuff. And we allow our emotions to dictate what's going on. So you just kind of get this serenity feeling when you just kind of go back there. And, we have quite a distance from the road to the house to on the property. So it's like when you pull up onto this property, you've got so much in front of you, and you're just kind of like separating yourself from the world.
Yeah, I get that. You're reminding me, Dan. So you were so kind, and why I respected what you said to me over the holidays when you had seen your son and I still haven't seen mine. I respected you because you got it. You have felt the pain I'm going through right now. Like we have a kindred life experience that way. So that felt really honoring and safe. And I'm remembering, so I'm from Canada originally, and I live in the States, but I had some clients in Nova Scotia, Canada, and I went out 3 times to lead retreats. And the second time they said, could you come again? I said, oh no, that's the week I've got my son. Because we had been divorced since he was like 1 year old, week on, week off. They're like, well, bring him. I'm like, okay. So this is an LA kid born in downtown Los Angeles. And we went all the way to Nova Scotia. And there was 180 cows. There were horses, dogs, cats, barn, acres that went on forever, farmland. And he was just given some gumboots. There was grandpa, father, the son, and my little guy. And he drove, the very first vehicle he ever drove was a tractor. And I remember one time, Dan, looking out the window, and he was sitting, there was a big German Shepherd, and he was sitting, and there was just land for as far as the eye could see. And I thought, oh my God, he's peaceful. He's peaceful. And there was something about the animals and the land that was a gift that being in the big city of LA, I could never give him. So yeah. I love that you happenstance, but you really can experience what presence does for you as a man, as a father, as a business owner, as a soul. Yeah.
So that network that we're in with all those podcasters and all those people, when everyone was posting everything about over the holidays, and I sent that pictures that I was with my kids or whatever for the first time, another man reached out to me, similar situation of yours, and hasn't talked to his kid and whatnot, and I think the conversation was nice with him because nobody that has ever went through it was able to talk to him. Everyone he talks to is somebody who's never been disconnected the way he's disconnected.
Yeah.
And there's something powerful about being able to tell other people, like, the truth is like, hey, listen, as long as you don't give up,
yeah,
it'll all happen, right? Yeah. So I don't remember the guy's name. That was like November time. But he reached out to me, and like we went back and forth for a while talking, and to be able to just pour hope into somebody,
yeah.
And I remember how I felt so alone, and you feel like almost a victim.
Yeah.
Like, why is this happening to me? And then when that breakthrough does happen, and that change does happen, and that show up does happen, it's just like, wow, everything that I expected happened. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. Right. So you don't know, like your son and his son, and we don't know when these days are going to be.
Yeah.
But as long as we don't give up, because so many people that I've spoken to go, you know what, I just don't even talk to my kid anymore. I don't want to talk to them. They don't want to talk to me. The hell with them. I'm like, what
No.
is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
how, that's your child. What are you saying to yourself right now? And, some people just don't get it.
Well, Dan, that's why I do what I do. One day I'll have the blessing of being on your podcast too and share more about what I've discovered. But when people can't feel a feeling like this presence that you've cultivated, right? This presence to be with what's true. When we can't be with ourselves, that level of pain, we deflect it. We project it onto someone else, or we blame ourselves, or we blame someone else because we can't sit in the fire and be with what's tough, right? We haven't developed resilience and grit or deep compassion. And I think those kind of people or parents, they just deflect away the pain that's really going on inside. Just like I'm sure you've seen in business, really like arrogant people tend to be the most insecure because they can't be, on the inside. So they have this facade on the outside. This was big for me, Dan. I just moved in December to this new property that I'm renting, and it's also beautiful. It's got like 12 acres. I love it. But it felt I had to really wrestle with. I was doing Airbnbs for 7 years, just waiting for him to call. So whenever he called, I'd move wherever. But I was still being, as you said, the victim of the situation. So unpacking, it was kind of melancholy because I wasn't chasing that fantasy of, oh my God, I'm going to live for him. I was like, no, how can I be the best me to receive him when he's ready to call? And so I feel more grounded, more in reality, more present, and more ready to receive him with this patience and grace. Whereas before it was more like a desperation and I needed him to be different for me to be okay. And now
Yeah.
I don't feel great, but I feel okay. I'm an allowance, not my preference, and way more receptive to everything, to love, to him, to great clients, to the next level of my impact with a docuseries, like all my dreams. Like it's so true. I say this all the time, but I wasn't really living it. The roots, we need the roots for the shoots. We need to be balanced and in harmony. Yeah.
Yeah. There's just the thing about like just accepting what's going on and knowing that as long as you're doing your best,
Yeah.
that's all you can do. I think most people either they feel like an underperformer or
Mm,
they just don't perform. Like
mm,
you just got to be present for the day for whatever you're doing, and especially in situations where you can't control that situation. I mean, we try to control it, and in the beginning we let our emotions control it, we let everything control it, and then we just kind of come to a realization where it's like, that's not working.
yeah.
Okay, like messing my whole day up. Like, what am I going to do? So some people just dismiss it fully, or they just accept it, and they just say, whatever that day is, that day is.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to do.
Yeah. I love this. Shifting that very same way of being over into business. I remember one of our chats we had, and you were sharing how you parent all your kids, texting them and encouraging them and being straight and clear and honest with them as well. So how has the difference between feeling like lack, chasing money, and being present and attracting it, building legacy, how has that really helped your business? Have you gotten better deals or more money or had more joy in the wealth that you're creating?
So before I just want to turn back real quick. So
Yeah.
what I like about what you do with your guests on your podcast and people you connect, like we had a conversation first.
Yeah.
You got to know who you're bringing on your show, and then throughout that time, it's like you ask questions and you figure people out.
Yeah.
So what's good about that, and then we do that a lot. When we bring our guests on, we try to figure them out. We have a questionnaire, we do stuff, and then we'll watch what they're doing, we'll see what we're doing. And so many people just want people to jump on their podcast, want to do stuff just to fill the seat.
Yeah.
And that what that does is it creates like a mess, right? Because you don't really know what you're going into. Now
Yeah.
your audience is getting distraught. So what you do to almost like pre-qualify your people is super good. We do the same thing. Like I
Mm.
was on a podcast yesterday, and this lady was on my podcast, and then I went on her podcast, and she's like, I got all these questions for you. Do you want to see them? I go, I don't want to see them. Like, you know who I am. I want you to just ask me what you want to ask me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to think about it. I just want to like go through it. So being able to know what you're going into and be source what you need to source out of that communication or out of that story,
Yeah.
that's impactful. So you should be teaching people how to prepare for podcasts. So
Okay. Thank you.
as far as business, um, so reframe the question again. Like say the question all over again. Just because I kind of like I was thinking about telling you that, and I just want to make
Well,
sure I got.
yeah, thank you. And thank you for that. I appreciate your compliment. So it sounds like you were super like wealthy and successful before the heart attack, going through everything with the kids, the divorce, and the way you're doing money now more from legacy and impact, more like inside out rather than chasing outside in. So I want to learn more from you as a businessman of how are you generating money now? Is it turning into more money,
I
better
wouldn't say
clients, better deals?
I wouldn't say I was super wealthy. I was making money. I was working hard, and I was driving my businesses. At an early age, I went bankrupt at 24, so I learned real early in my life that you need to respect money,
Yeah.
because if you don't respect money, it will kick your ass.
Mm.
And that was early on in my life. But what I did was I've always earned money. Um, it was something that I had to go out there, give it my all, receive back, and it was just a linear way of living.
Yeah.
And what I realized at the heart attack point was that I know how to make a lot of money. I know how to lose money. But what I've done up until that point was I built a business that was operating on structure and systems, and I was able to have a life and have a business. When most people I know in business don't have a life because their entire business is their life.
Yeah.
So my ultimate purpose at that point, if I was going to stay alive, was I was going to teach business owners how to do what I was doing, because there was very small select group of people that I've ever been introduced to that were actually living the life that they desired.
Mm.
Their businesses trapped them. So I said,
Mm.
if I can just help people become the CEOs of their company,
Yeah.
not the biggest slave to their company,
Yeah.
now now I'll have fulfillment. Now I'll know that, hey, if I did die a year from today or 2 years from today, at least
Yeah.
I helped one, two, 10 people, however many people that look like by that time, become the best version of themselves and not be trapped for their entire life.
Yeah.
So that was my ultimate goal. So how I make money today is basically I pull people out of the trap of business ownership. So everyone calls themselves an entrepreneur. I say that there's probably about 3% entrepreneurs and 97% entrepreneurs, because most people are not entrepreneurs. If you're tied into what you're doing just because you have money and just because you have things, if you have no quality of life,
Yeah.
it's the true entrepreneurial world. Like when you have a quality of life and you're actually living for a purpose, not just for whatever this thing is that's keeping you alive, right?
Yeah.
So by me helping people, figure out all the bottlenecks in their business and eliminate the trap of business ownership, that's how I make money today, by pulling people out of this identity crisis and allowing them to become a freer version of themselves, live life, make money, but not be tied down to something, because that's what they feel they should be doing.
Mm. I love this. Maybe that's going to be another direction that you support me moving forward. Who knows? This last year, one of the reasons why I was trapped in my business is I almost created it, Dan. Anything so I didn't feel the pain of my son not being in my life. How many more clients, how many more weekends could I work so that I didn't slow down and feel so how lonely I was? And I thought, well, a man will make me feel better. Well, we both know that didn't work. So all these other ways. And it was really through feeling, slowing down, letting go of all the clients that I was over giving to, and just having like less is more is kind of my motto this year, where I'm not over giving. I've got balance. I started when I lived in South Carolina, rearranging my schedule to the low tide so I could walk along the beach. That was like my first shift. Like I'm in control of my business. I can
Yeah.
create balance. That was my first shift. Now I've moved to Santa Fe and I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I don't know all the ways to make money with a docu-series idea. I don't know the business of that, but I do feel a desire to impact more, like less is more. So who knows how
You
well.
got to learn. you got to learn the concepts of leveraging time, leveraging people, making other people accountable for the results that you're looking for. Because when you're doing everything and operating it everywhere, you're going to hit that ceiling, whatever that ceiling is. So even though you have balance, you're still only going to be able to limit yourself to the results that you're getting based on what you can perform at. So I show people like how they can quadruple their income, but almost take back 3/4 of their time every single week. And people just, they don't even believe it. But when you show them all these things that are just bringing them into this funneled place where they're trapped, you say, hey, look, the door's right there. You know what I mean? The road's right there, but you're just not going there because you're getting sucked in here. We have to do this. We have to implement this. You have to stop doing this. And most business owners just have this whole mentality where it's like, if it's not done my way, it's not done the right way. There's people out there. So let's say that a business had 5 major tasks. As a business owner, if I feel like I can accomplish all 5 of those tasks better than anybody else, that's selfish, first off.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's impossible because I can never give all 5 of them 100%. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
My idea is to find out, okay, here's vehicle number 1. Who do I put in that driver's seat that can do that 100% and better than me?
Yep.
And it's releasing that pressure, number 1, but number 2, releasing like that control. So as business owners have this control theory where they have to control everything, I'd rather be in a business where the whole business is controlled and I'm just kind of operating on the outside saying, okay, well, where can I help it grow? What can I do? Because the right people are in place driving this thing.
I feel really smart right now, Dan, because that's all my employees are better than me at everything they do. And so I feel pretty good right now. I'm the best coach, that's for sure. But they do everything else. I couldn't survive without them. They're amazing.
Yeah, same thing with my team. Like my team, they all have their position, they all have their place. They do what they got to do. And it's like, your lane is your lane. Our lanes should not overlap. You do what you're supposed to do, and that's it.
Yep. Oh, I feel a little taller right now. This feels good. Yeah, I just had our first meeting of the year. They're all over the planet. So we have like to get everybody's time zones together. But one of them just got engaged. And they've been with me for 5 years. I've seen them date, get engaged, move in, have babies, like move out, get there. I mean, it's been, they call me Mama Bear. It's really good. Yeah.
It's nice watching people evolve.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. To see, she got the ring on the finger. So, yeah, feels good. So as we, thank you for our new and budding and deepening friendship. I really appreciate you. And I'm glad to know exactly the entrepreneurs listening right now, if they're feeling trapped by their business and they want to get those bottlenecks worked out, not just to have balance, but as you said, to truly let it run on its own and be the maestro, like the captain of the ship kind of energy. That feels really, really great. And thank you for being so clear to have a good wake-up call for entrepreneurs. Like, do you just have a glorified job? Do you have 10 glorified jobs that you're all doing yourself? And then tying it back into what I do, the control, being able to release control and trust the divine, trust your intuition, trust your heart, trust your gut. And it's almost like how much sand can you hold in your hands when you're gripping? Not very much. But when you release it, you can hold a lot more and you can flow and you can be aware of things. So I like it. What are you excited about this year, 2026? What's turning you on?
Just being able to impact people and, perform at my highest levels and, connections and meeting people and, getting in front of people. And, that's really it. Like, I really enjoy being on other people's podcasts, being on other people's platforms, learning about other people, having people on my podcast, because, you're sitting in a place where you don't get to hear these stories. You don't get to hear these transformations unless you're in those seats.
Yeah.
And just being in this world of entrepreneurship, like true entrepreneurship and true business leadership and business development, you really get to see transformation from every level. Even people who maybe were on my podcast and, we talked, we opened them up, we made them vulnerable. Now, a year later, we just see a drastic change because, they said something that, maybe they weren't prepared to say, but we forced it out of them. So, and that's what we do. We play good cop, bad cop on our podcast. And, I have a co-host on my one podcast, and he comes in like the good cop and he wants to know everything about you. He fills out the form. He does all this. I come in raw. I know nothing. And I just let him evaluate you. And then I come in and I just like terrify you at all the things that I see, that you could be changing because he takes your intake form and he basically breaks it down about why you are where you are in your life and what you want to do. And I now just break that down and I'm like, that's it. And I take you to this higher place where you just can just elevate so much higher. And you're like, man, like this guy just kicked my ass. But like, that's a good way because I want to hear how they're conversating about what they believe. And then it's almost, okay, well, you really believe more, but you have some self-limiting beliefs here. Like, what do we have to do about that?
Thank you. Now I'm a little bit quaking in my boots that I'm coming out in April to hopefully get terrorized by you.
It's not bad. You just you got to go deep with people because so my one podcast is a Big D podcast. That's just a solo podcast. That's a making men again podcast. It's just literally beating the shit out of men about how weak men don't like strive in this world. That's what I talk about, like that kind of stuff. Wow. And I talk about business and how you won't succeed in business. Like if you want motivation, if you want to be comfortable, like that's what I talk about. And the Intrepidus podcast, that's the Latin word of fearless. So we talk about the fears. We talk about, what did you do to get to this place? And, what are you still fearing? And then that's how we break it all down to figure out like those emotional states where you're at versus where you can be. And hearing your story and what you think your story is versus what your story really can be.
I love this. One of my, she's a client, she's my general counsel, and we've been friends for 20 years. We have our lanes that we're in. And I was interviewing her. She came out to Santa Fe. She's like, how about I interview you? And it was wonderful to get her point of view of how she calls me like a diamond. Like there's just been pressure, so much pressure, but I just keep getting more resilient, getting humbled, but also stronger. So I feel like this will be like 2.0 for you to ask me the tough questions. And it's really, we're very similar this way, Dan. Like I don't sugarcoat, emotions. Like it's like, oh no, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's not. I can feel it. Like I can sense we're not all the way integrated. And when those emotions get integrated, they turn into strength, into superpower. But when they don't, they become an anchor and you can get triggered and make poor decisions personally or professionally. So I think we have like a similar way. I mean, maybe mine's a little more feminine. I don't terrorize or torture people, but I do hold them to the fire. And I go, feel that.
I wouldn't say I torture people. I just don't. I'm like a no bullshit guy. I don't want to hear your bullshit story behind it. Like, let's just pull that out of their way. Yeah. And let's look at the reality,
Yeah. No, we're similar because you're fine. I know when someone's not fine. I can feel it. I can feel the tears underneath the words. So thank you. Thank you for being you. DanSachkowsky.com. His site will be in the show notes. Follow him on Instagram. Watch his 2 different podcasts. And so how would you like to complete this podcast? What would you like to share?
If there's anything I can do for anyone, they can just message me. And I'm open to sharing anything I share, helping any which way I can help. For me, I realize, everything is not transactional. We live in a world where, like I said, we're in a group chat with a whole bunch of people. And for some of the people in that chat, like you really see who things are transactional with. Yeah. And then you see who things are transformational with.
I love that.
We're in a transformational place where if you're really the person that you say you are and you're willing to help someone see bigger versus being transactional to get them to see bigger, you're going to gain, number one, more support. You're going to gain more credibility, and people are going to see you're real through those processes. Yeah. So if anyone has any questions, anyone needs anything, they can always message me on Instagram or whatever. And, we could talk about whatever it is, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whether you have a kid who's not talking to you, whatever it is. And, listen, if I've never owned a shovel, I'm not going to talk about it.
Yeah.
But if I owned a shovel for that portion of my life and it was part of my life, and I can definitely talk to you about it, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to try to give you advice on something I've never been through.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that depth of honesty. And for those of you watching and listening, I want you to, before you go off and do something else, I'm sure there was a couple gems, mic drop moments that Dan said. I'd like you, when this is over, to take a moment, maybe get a journal, as he was saying, maybe go put your feet out in the earth and just let it sink in, let it wake something up, let it motivate you to take a different action, or to even let something go that you've been harping. Allow this man's wisdom to literally change the trajectory of your life, and reach out to him should that feel in resonance with you personally or professionally. And then lastly, Dan, I so love the difference between transactional and transformational. I had two transactional relationships, and they came from me being so insecure that I needed a man to feel safe or feel approved of, and he needed a woman to feel good enough or arm candy or whatever the hell I was. So it's not like I'm perfect, but those transactional relationships didn't work. Transformational ones are where two whole people who are willing to take ownership and responsibility and give from their heart and soul to each other. It starts to become like a figure eight, where you awaken the best in one another and truly transform each other into our best selves. So thank you, Dan, for being one of those people. My new brother from another mother. All right. We love you. Thank you for being with us on Intimate Conversations. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. I just finished a live TV segment in Portland, Oregon. It was so nice. They asked me back. I was just myself. Her name is Hannah and I'm Allana. So I go, hello, Hannah Banana. And she's like, oh, it's so good to see you, Allana Banana. I just love being thrown into a live situation where instead of a beautiful podcast, which you can go for 30 or 40 minutes, you got like 5 minutes to like land it and make a difference and speak to people and hopefully awaken something. And I'm sure in this podcast with Dan, a lot awakened within you from a parenting point of view, a relationship point of view, a business point of view, maybe watching me get a little squirmy about what it's going to be like to be on his podcast. And yet authenticity is my jam. Intimacy, into me I see. Like I want someone who can meet me with that level of truth, with care. That's how I coach. So I'm thrilled the opportunity to have how I do business, which is really how I do life. Like my business is my sacred practice. This is my dharma. So I'm really looking forward to sharing more when I get to be on his podcast as well. So a couple things. One, subscribe, rate, review, do all the things so that more people can see and hear this incredible conversation with Dan. Number two, send it to someone in business who might be experiencing that bottleneck that he's going to be amazing at supporting. And three, take one action. Certainly follow him, get to know him more, listen to his podcast, but allow this conversation to inspire an action that you normally wouldn't have taken because you took the time to be with us, because that's why we show up. We show up for you. We show up to inspire you because we care about you. And then lastly, if something more in the emotional realm, the self-worth realm, the not being able to forgive the past realm, the questioning if you can really do it realm, any of this internal emotions that get in the way of relationships, personally and professionally, I'm here. I would love to hear from you. I would love to welcome you into our family of frequency coaching clients. So in the show notes, you'll see how you can register for a call with me, an intimacy breakthrough experience call. I'd love to see you in my calendar. I'd love to connect one-on-one and walk with you through the fire to the light. All right, Happy New Year. All my love.